Hey, it's Sherry Stallings. I'm here today to talk to you about due diligence. What the heck is due diligence anyway? And how do I do it when I'm purchasing a home? Well, I'm so glad you asked. Let's talk about it. All right, so there's a lot to know, right? When you look at a house for the first time and you fall in love and you leave the property, you can't just put an offer in on it right away. You shouldn't. If you have the time and it's not a competitive situation where your offer needed to be in like yesterday, step back a minute because you've only gotten this much information out of that big of a picture, right? So let's get some information and make sure that you're making the most educated decision that you can. You want to Google this address. Find out everything you can find out publicly that's available. Go on Mass Land Records, pull up the deed. Are the people selling the house, in fact, legally able to sell this property? Sometimes when there's an estate sale or if there are children selling the house for parents who might have passed away, things haven't always transferred over legally yet. So you want to be sure that you're staying on top of this because it is going to come up later on in the transaction and you don't want any surprises, right? You just want to be on top of everything. This could affect your title insurance as well. You want to do drive-bys of this house. Speak to the neighbors. What is it like living there? What are things that they love about it? What are things that bother them? Ask them about the people. We can't really talk about people. We can talk about properties all day long, but we can't really talk about people. So get that information from them. They might also be able to tell you if you're in a flight path, if there's a train that goes by every morning at 2 a.m. that lasts for like 45 minutes. I mean, these things might be a deal breaker for you. So have a conversation with them. The next big thing is field trip time. You need to be going to the town hall. Make really good friends with everybody down there because you're going to be visiting them a lot. The building department. Are there any permits that were pulled on this property? If they've done any recent improvements or additions or anything like that, you want to be sure that things have been pulled and closed by licensed and insured professionals so that the job was done correctly. If not, it's not always a deal breaker for people. It all really depends on the buyer's tolerance level, if they're comfortable with that or not. When it would affect you is later in the future when you go to resell and the next buyers, want to have those permits pulled. So that's something to think about. Another thing is are there any easements on your property? Do the kids across the street have the ability to walk through your property to get to the pond in the back? Kind of good to know, right? Is your shed encroaching on your neighbor's yard or vice versa? That might need to be cleared up before closing, okay? Those are things that you want to look into. And speaking of pond, another big thing would be looking into GIS mapping and to see if this is in a flood zone that might require flood insurance. Not only that, I mean, it's money out of your pocket, but were you planning on finishing that basement for additional space? And now maybe you can't do that. Or if you are going to do it, it's going to cost you more money because you need to put a drain in or you need to do X, Y, and Z. And that, these are things that you just need to kind of be looking into that factor into your decision. Zoning. Is this property zoned residential? It may be right now, but you also don't know if there's been proposals put in place to change that zoning. So again, you would find this all out at the town hall. These are important things to note. If your property has a septic system, again, they're going to have records at the town hall. How often was this tank pumped? Has it been maintained properly throughout the years? Gives you a really good idea of what the condition is of your tank. You can also find out, let's say you're looking at a property that has a 3-bedroom septic and you really want the property, but you want to build and you want to add another 4th bedroom. If the town only allows you a 3-bedroom septic, you can add on that bedroom, but it changes the value of your property and you can only have a 3-bedroom septic. That may be a deal breaker for future buyers. So again, that might lessen the value of your property for resale. Just things to think about. Another big one in certain cities is they have parking bans. Okay, if you have a family like I do, and there's a million of us, and you've got a lot of vehicles, if you plan on parking on the street, that might not work for you. Okay, so these are things that you need to look into. Let's see. Oh, lastly, this is a big deal. If you've got children, you also want to be looking on the National Sex Offender List. Who's around you? You want to really have a good picture of not only your property but your surroundings. Speaking of surroundings, I actually have a funny story. So last year we had a property. These buyers fell in love with this house. It ticked all the boxes. It was perfect in the town that they wanted and the neighborhood that they wanted. It was kind of a no-brainer. We had done all of our research, and then the last thing that we had found out through the Board of Health was that this property had received so many complaints from neighbors. It was the house directly across the street from them. They received so many complaints because through the months of May through October, there was foul smells, there was filth, there were goats. They had tons of goats next door and they didn't corral them. So people would be coming home from work and there would be goats in their yard. It's crazy. So that obviously, sadly, was a deal breaker for them. But again, they wouldn't have found out, you know, they wouldn't have known. So it kind of saved them a big purchase. Anyway, so do your research. That's the bottom line. And we're always here to help. I know it's a lot to take in, but it's important. It's a huge investment, you know. For single families, multifamilies, these are pretty much the big items that we're looking at. For condos and associations, it's a whole nother ball game, and I'll be doing that segment in the next couple of weeks, so stay tuned for that. If you guys have any questions, you know how to reach me. I hope you have an awesome day, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.